Hello, Internet. I am back. So this time, well, it's a little bit later. I had a lot of connectivity issues, so let's try and I'll do a little bit of a recap here. So I've got a timeline now working, and I've added this. I've added this cursor to it. It snaps to a frame number, at least it does at the moment. And if I drag it to the right, it causes the timeline to scroll. If I drag it to the left, it causes the timeline to scroll up until the point where it stops, and then it's all good. But if I leave it here and then drop it, then it still continues to scroll. And also, if it doesn't quite land on a, like here, it's not landed, it hasn't landed directly on a cell or a column, and it causes a snapping behavior to not work quite correctly. So I want to fix those two things. So from here, I think I can ask for the scroll pane, and I was going to try and figure out how, if I inspect that, how do I get the current scroll information, I guess. Like how far is it scrolled? That's the question. I kind of think that just by finding the content, like these are just going to ask for like fit content. I think if we say like this is okay, the scroll pane, and then we tell it SP first child. Can I say that? Nope, that does not work. But we can say children first. SP children first. Then that'll work. And then position X. That's not it. Measurement. Yeah, okay, so basic layout, linear layout. I'm not sure why I'm seeing all of these in here. Something in here has got to tell me like where it scrolled to. So this would be 50 something. So if I scroll all the way to the left and then run this again, did that change? No, these didn't change. 135 didn't change. I wonder if there's a test for the scroller. So scroll examples. Scroll pane examples. I wonder if there's a test with some assertions about the scroll information. Let's just run them all. I don't actually need to run them. I just need to see the code, right? Scroll state equals settling. Okay. We definitely have a scroll state. We can get the scroll state from it. So SP scroll state. No. Scrolls pane with content in space. That was. We have an extent. We have position. Scroll position. Minimum can scroll horizontally. Content extent. But that's Yeah, that's just method on this test suite. This is BL scroll pane. I'm actually looking for a BR scroll pane. BL scroll pane example. Oh, I always do that wrong. I wonder what the difference is between, well, clearly the difference is that this is a part of block pack. The scroll position as array. There's two separate implementations of scrolling. One is for brick and one is for block. Okay. I don't know how to get to state. That's my trouble. I suppose I could step through it in the debugger, right? So the way this works is I've already told it how to scroll. So we say scroll by, right? So sp scroll by, and then it's a like 550 at 0. Okay. So if I debug this, let's step through it in the debugger and see what happens. Because maybe that's a way to get at these issues. So step into step over. So we'll step into this. So we're going to dispatch an event. Step into that. We step out of, step through, step over. I'm not sure what step through does. Okay. So step into that. And now we should be dispatching the event, right? The dispatch event. Event has source. Event. An event source itself. Blah, blah, blah. Does it want this event? The event is a scroll by wish. And so we want to run to here. Boom. And then we're going to step into it. All right, so the event target tells its event dispatcher to dispatch the event. They both have a method called dispatch event. Okay. I think someone's trying to call me. And of course I can't see my screen. Well, you can call me back or I'll call them back. Dispatch event and event next. So, okay, so, and then, okay. step over that. All right, so first it's created this thing from this, and so now we're going to call dispatch event next. Okay, so we're going to step into that. Dispatch event next. The event is not consumed. We don't know if it's consumed or not, but I can imagine it's not consumed. I could double click on this, so it's probably not confused. Target, meta, raw, target, raw. So it's not consumed, right? Because it's brand new. And so we're going to step over that. I'm not sure what step through versus step into does. I'm going to keep pressing this button and see what it does. Self-dispatch capturing event. Still not consumed, okay. I wonder what that means, step through. Can be propagated. All right, so it can, so now the chain, but we know that's an empty chain. So step over. Is it consumed? No. Owner is VL scroll pane, and then the event target is the scroll pane. I imagine they're the same one, right? I think there only is one scroll pane involved here. Not sure how to make, I don't think I can resize this column to see what that is. But I imagine these are the same, right? So I imagine this is true. So it is true. And so now we dispatch arrived event. Okay, so step into that. Event arrived target. It's probably just setting some, yeah. So setting the target. Okay. Okay, so now handlers if not nil. Handlers is not nil. Okay. So we can step over that. Oh, shoot. Did I just step over it? It's still not consumed. Well, what's going to handle this? Right? We're now going down the call stack. So that I missed it. I missed where it changed. Okay, so that was not helpful. I need to improve my debugging skills in here. So presumably that someone's still trying to call me. Okay, I'm gonna Ignore it for now. I'll call them back in a little bit. I'm guessing we're going to do that again a little bit quicker. Oh. Yeah, I did that too quick. I think I could restart it. So, okay, run that again. Boom. Could have said restart at any point right here. No. Restart. That'll always take me to right here. All right, so step through. I don't know what step through does, but that's not the right thing to press. So try it again. This is not helpful, is it? I guess it's helpful if, like me, you don't know what Smalltalk debugging is supposed to work like. Okay. Step into. So we'll just keep pressing the step into button. Or we can actually step over that one. So we know what that does. I mean, that's at the point. And now we're going to step into dispatch event. We step in here. Step over the call to empty. Step into this call. Add a watch. So it's not consumed here. Step over. Step over. Step over. Not consumed. You okay, sweetie? A bug going on. I can't come right now. Run away. Alright, you can kill it if you want. I don't care. Kill a bug. Target self owner. Alright, so handlers are not now. So I think this is where I skipped it. I skipped over this, and I think that's where we need to. Yep, so let's run to that point. Oh, okay, so you just click on that, then you say handlers. Okay, so event still not consumed. We're gonna get the announcer, and we're gonna announce the event. So we run to this. Boom. Oh, that didn't work. The event is still not consumed. Oh, we have multiple handlers. Okay, so handlers are what? The event is a BR scroll by wish. I think maybe what I should do is, instead of trying to find it through the debugger, because this is not yet working for me, and I see that I have to dig through all the handlers, I think I should look for BR scroll by wish and then find what handles that and just find the references. Announcement references. These are the same. Class references and class and subclass references. All right, so it's not the tree aptitude, and it's not the list infinite. So scroll by dispatches that event, and then so initialize listeners is going to say self on scroll by. Okay, so now it's the BR scroll panel aptitude on scroll by. Oh, that's interesting. So we can set it to be smooth if we want. Actually, close this debugger. Well, it doesn't matter. We don't need it to be smooth because it's animated. We're just scrolling a little bit at a time. All right, so self-scrollable scroll bar. So I clicked on this to figure out this is a method in the BR scroll pane aptitude. And when you initialize it, it creates a new scrollable element. Add change, add child as. What does that mean? Scrollable. So I think this is saying I can find the scrollable. I can ask for scrollable. I don't know what this says. Add change. With a block. Here, look, add child as change. I don't know what that means. Oh, I see. So the path is content scrollable. Add change, add child as. That's a ridiculous sentence. But I think this means that I can reach that thing as something called scrollable, right? I'm not sure. Let's try that. We have SP, and we can say SP child named child path. There's no path. Child named content. Children named content does not exist. Okay, so SP. If I just inspect this children widget. No, what do I want? Children is what I want, not children shortcuts. We are the scroll pane. We have something called scrollable, and something called a horizontal scroll bar. Okay. Scrollable. I'm not able to change tabs. Okay. We don't need this one. I think scrollable. What is it? Is that the whatever scrollable is the scrollable element, right? It is called scrollable, and it is a scrollable element. Okay. All right. So sp child named scrollable. Sp child named scrollable. And if I print that or I get this, that's what I want. Wait, what? I'm a little confused. Why am I confused? I'm confused because I expected this to be a container for GS Grid UI, not the data itself. And this has every line is something different, right? It's its own element. Every one of these lines up here is its own element. And that is causing a situation where it takes forever to draw the tree. It doesn't take forever to draw the widget itself, but to draw the inspector for it takes forever. So at some point I want to replace this with something that just draws directly on the canvas. But let's see. Okay, so maybe that's what add child as is doing. Add change, a look change, changes add change, the look change up on. Up on or upon? Yeah, I don't understand what's going on here, but this seems to have. Well, the aptitude is not. The aptitude is not necessarily an element. It could have its own tree. So its child name content could be something different. Okay, I'm very confused. Oh, look, see, the GS Grid UI is a child of the scrollable element. Somehow I was just getting this, but when I asked for, this gives me a BL scrollable element, but when I asked for the thing named scrollable, come on. Ah, maybe I didn't have that in there. Right, if I inspect that, I would expect to, yeah, I did. Okay, somehow without that hash mark, do I get the super slow? What is, I'm just going to close everything that is not. I'm going to close everything that is not Pharaoh. Don't save. Definitely second guessing my choice to use Pharaoh here. What is taking so? OBS Studio is taking up. Firefox a little. Okay, we can close this. Can be closed easily. Maybe. %94 memory and 9 gigabytes for Glamorous Toolkit. That's the culprit right there. 9 gigabytes. Very high. Okay, is it? YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Okay. Sorry, viewers. Close this one. Don't need this anymore. This anymore. I wonder if the this event handler here is just still running and just doing nothing. So I'm going to say a task if not nil. Stop. Well, no, it's not. It's not running because it would be scrolling in one direction or the other. So that actually probably does nothing. Probably just superstition. So what's taking up 9 gigabytes? I have a bunch of error messages here that I can't see called. They're all about like this. Failed to enqueue a task. And there wasn't that many of them. All right. So now I want to look for like Pharaoh release memory. Well, it is garbage collecting. Got down to 7 gigabytes, so I just reclaimed a gig. Memory leaks. Okay, well, I'm guessing it had something to do with that. I don't know for sure. Maybe not, maybe not. Okay. It was just a distraction. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the scroll offset. Like, what is the scroll offset right now? That's why I'm trying to trace all this, because I want to be able to. Yeah, I want this to cause the thing to scroll, but then I want to know how far it scrolled so that I can, make it snap when it's not lined up right. Interesting that it's like half, like, oh, no, yeah, here it's not. So it just happened to be off by exactly half a cell. No, it's not. Okay, so I wanted to run this to see what happened if I did that, and it just said child named was sent to nil. Okay. Oh, rather. Okay, so scrollable. This actually gives me scrollable. That I made a mistake there. Ooh, now it just spiked back up to 9,000. This is about what happened when I. Okay. Interesting. I don't know if that's whatever. Okay. This should be like several hundred megabytes, maybe a 1 gigabyte. Not 9 gigabytes is just insane. Okay, but this is the scrollable. It is a scrollable element. So now what can I do on the scrollable element? Does it have properties? No. Does it have tiles? I mean, it has properties, but that's not what I'm looking for. States, widget, shortcuts, user data. Overview. New parent. Well, I guess maybe if I click on the meta tab, I could see like what is scroll state. Okay, so now That's idle. Okay, that's a symbol. Scroll position. -675. Okay. Scroll position X. Adapt to number and send was sent to nil. Is -675. Okay, so this is scroll pane. Okay, this is actually fine. I want to extract that out as a method, but that's no good. Okay, let's back up here. This is way too big. Clearly. Active zone, it should be probably a method or a active zone 50, and we'll save that. Okay, so active zone already is a member. What about DX? I'm going to say scroll DX. We'll call it scroll DX is equal to, how about DX scroll? Is equal to 0. And we'll make that a, actually, hang on. So we're going to remove this. We're going to add this back as a slot. All right, save this. And then we'll call this dx equals 0. And then now we can rename it to like dx scroll. Maybe we can rename it. There we go. It doesn't seem to let you rename something to the same thing with the suffix. Okay. So we've got dx scroll equals 0. And now I think I can, if you auto refactor this, it changes the formatting to tabs. I really don't like that. Maybe I should just get over that and adapt to the standard that they provide. But when you're zoomed in, it's like the way I normally do. Like I'm using a quarter of my screen. Now I've got a half of that quarter, so this is an eighth of my screen, and then I'm sharing it, so it needs to be bigger, so I make the font bigger. And even though it's probably not even as big as it should be, your font can never be too big. Your font can never be big or too big on YouTube, right? Make it readable for people on phones and whatnot. So anyway, the point is that indenting just takes up indenting a whole tab just takes up too much space. But you can also counteract that by making small methods that don't indent too deeply. So that's what I'm trying to do here. All right, so and I think I'm going to call this a task. I'm going to rename this auto scroll. Auto scroll task. And give that a check mark. And then I'm going to remove this as a temporary, and then make it a slot on the timeline. All right, and then so we can give these better names. So call. Actually, is that the cursor width? No, that's the call width. Column width. Or how about cell width? Or cell W is fine. If there's also a cell H. The cell width and the cursor height are the same, and the cursor width are the same thing. So cell width and then cursor height. So this is it, and then this one actually is called cursor height. Cur H. Okay. And then I'm going to move that to cur H equals 16 for the initialize and make that a slot. And then down here, we'll just get rid of the cur H here. And then get rid of this. Okay, and then cell width is probably also going to be here. So cell, it's called call width. So call width, because it's the width of these columns. It's not really, I mean, it is kind of a grid, but I think column makes better sense. All right, so I'm going to move this out again, and again make it a slot. And then initialize it here. Okay, so check mark there. Not sure why this didn't save. Something wrong with it? Why isn't it saving? All right, that seems to be a bug. I'm going to close this and then paste this and then hit save again. And now it works. Okay. So now, with all of those things removed, we can have this one thing, we'll call this alpha. Okay. And now we can extract this method because everything will be local to the object rather than a local variable. Okay, so we'll call this on pull event. So we'll say self on pull event. Right. And that is going to be everything that was in that box. So wait 10 milliseconds. If not nil. So on pull event, auto scroll if cursor moves towards edge. If cursor is dragged towards edge, if user drags when cursor is dragged towards edge. And I see I have someone watching, so welcome. Hey, thank you. All right, and we're gonna call this on cursor pull event. On cursor pull. All right, and then just to make sure everything still works, drag, 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 drag. Okay. All right. And I was just checking to see if any of those little windows popped up that I didn't see. Any debugger windows? They did not. I'm curious why it's. I feel like it's scrolling faster, but it's not. It is. As I roll that, as I roll, I've got a like one of these, right? Trackball, and as I'm scrolling fast, as I'm rolling the mouse faster, it speeds up. Oh, because every time I move the mouse, it's calling this function and resetting the scroll task, and so it's triggering this over and over again. And I guess it's probably starting immediately. That's kind of neat. But what I actually wanted to do is scale this, like, so if you have like a really long page on, say, Firefox or something, what would be a really long page? Look on Wikipedia. Oh, I just look for small talk. I'm doing all this work to show this. You know, as you move the mouse closer to the top, it speeds up faster and faster and faster. And as you move it down, like you middle click to set this thing, and then as you move further away from it, that controls how fast it scrolls. And that's the kind of experience I'm kind of looking for. Not quite this, but kind of thing where this acts as a speed control. So when I move here, the closer I move to it, the faster it's going to scroll. That's what I want to see. Because this could be like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things, and so I want to be able to just zip really fast that way. And then, right. And let's say, but first I want to get this snapping thing done. I think what I'm going to do is have this snap to a frame. So I'm going to say self on cursor stop, and then collect all this stuff, and then save that. Add this method. Maybe I should call it on cursor pull end. Let's rename that on cursor pull end event. Just cursor pull end. Yeah, I like this because this is all just drag, drag, drag. Okay. And then so on cursor pull end. If the task is not nil, then stop it and snap to closest frame. And then we're also going to say, all right, so what was this thing? Scroll position X. Can I set scroll position exactly? Can I just set it? So XY is equal to this. Boom. And then SP, so SC is this. So print that, there we go. And then say SC scroll position, print that, oops. Print that. And if we say SC scroll position, nope, okay. Scroll. Okay, so if I want to scroll to something, I need to tell it. So scroll position. So I need to say scroll by, and then we'll say XY X at XY.Y. But we're going to say negative XYX. So no, 0. 0 minus XYX. Hang on. 0 minus XYX, that should work without parentheses. Right, because this has precedence, and then the first the monadic thing runs, and the dyadic thing runs, the operator runs, and then the next thing runs. Okay, so and then it runs left to right. So in fact, this is actually not even necessary. By X. except I want to take the remainder after dividing by 20, which is I believe called column width. Call W. Okay. If I just run this, if I just hit Control D to do that, I think this 60 is gonna. Well, I think it's gonna snap, but it's not gonna snap exactly to that 60. It's gonna snap. It may or may not. Let's just see if it works at all. It did. Okay. But now I want it to snap to the nearest one and not just the. Because now it's going to snap all the way back to the thing that was before it. So this is 0, 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's going to snap to 60 again if I control D again. No, it didn't. Oh, it's always going to snap to the right. I see. It's always going to snap to whatever the next line is on the right. Do I like that? No. All right, so if I don't want that, what would I want it to do? I'd want it to say so we want like snap to column is something I already have. All right, so let's I've calculated it right. Where do I calculate that? This right here. Snap to closest frame. All right, so position, cursor relocate, self, snap to column, cursor position. All right, and let's add this, create method. And it is a point. And then we say a point x, and we'll just call it a point dot y, even though it's almost certainly 0. All right, so self snap to column cursor position, and now we can say SC scroll position, or how would we say self snap to column well, actually, we want XY is equal to SC scroll position. And then we want to say, now that we have the scroll position, we want to snap that to XY. That's XY1. We want to snap that to a column. And then we want to scroll by XY1 minus XY. Yes, that's right. All right, so now if I do all this, that well, that actually is, we've already snapped. So now oops. Instance the GS timeline did not understand negative. Oh, so this does not work. Did not actually work. We need to return this. All right. Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's see if this jumps that way or, well, yeah, okay, that one it moved to the left. No, it didn't. Did it? -5 at 0. -3 at 0. All right, so that's scrolling this way, and now when I hit this, it should go all the way. Yes. Oops. And if I say +3, scrolling to the right, and that's almost there. Oh, okay, well, that was the line. I'll make 2 copies of this. Control Enter and paste this. I say there's the line, and now we'll scroll 1, 2, 3, and then if I do this, it should jump backwards. I like that. Okay, so this is snapping. This is exactly what I want. Okay. Alrighty. And then on cursor pull end, we're going to do all of this. So we'll snap. So SP snap cursor and scroll to a frame boundary. And scroll pane to a frame boundary. To a column, a column or frame boundary. Self child name. Okay, boom. Do this. That should work. So we need SP and SC and XY and XY1. And I'll call this XY0 just for consistency. 0 and XY0 and XY0. Okay. I'm just going to make a new method because this is kind of long. So self snap scroll pane snap scroll pane. And then we'll make the method and it will contain all of this. Okay, so now when I run this, I should be able to scroll this any way I want, no matter how fast it's going, and it'll always land on directly on a cell. And I'll be able to tell that because this line will always line up with the 2 lines will always line up with the top of the surrounding lines will always line up with the lines of the cursor. Does seem to be the case. So it's like a extra bit of a frame over here, extra bit of a column here. It's not a full column. So even though the thing is snapped, I give it. I can't move that over. I would think as I scroll, I want that to move with it. So maybe. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I have to readjust that. I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm not going to worry too much about getting the scroll bar to work right. To work like the most sensible way, because the scroll bar itself does not work right. The scroll bar can allow. Maybe I just want to remove this scroll bar. Dragging to the left. So I probably want to do something that says if I start in the active zone, in the auto scroll zone, do the scrolling. I'm going to add that to like my notes on this page. So I got a workbook called. I see I'm dropping again. Auto animation timeline. Yeah, so I'm gonna go to that page again, and I'm gonna add like to do. To do items. To do items. So what am I saying? Do not. Don't scroll when the pull starts in the zone. Or at least unless you drag all the way to the other side. Right. So then what I would want is as you start here, nothing happens, and then when you get way over here, then it starts to drag. But not when you started over here. But if you started like right here and then continued that way, then I think it should do it. So I think you'd have to like leave the zone, right? Or at least go left and then right. If you just go left, then it shouldn't happen. So you have to go back to the right to make it start moving. Unless you drag to it, or you drag away from edge and then back towards the edge. I think that's pretty good UI there, but I'm not going to implement that right now. I do want click. I want to be able to click somewhere. All right, so we'll say click a column to set the cursor. I'm going to call that the playhead. Playhead. Is that right? I think that term is the term that we see in like other. Slightly. I don't want to Google that. I'm just slightly. Yeah, the playhead is the graphic in the timeline. Yeah, just for somehow that sounded slightly dirty, and I didn't want to Google it. Right, so we'll call it. It's actually playhead with no, which is all one word. Playhead. Is it? Let me double check that. Yeah, the playhead is a vertical line that moves during playback. Yeah, so we'll call that. We're going to call that the playhead. So anytime we see cursor, we're going to rename that to playhead. All right, so we rename the and we got to click it here. And then we're going to call that make playhead. Make playhead. Okay, and I think somewhere I called it cursor when I actually use it. So make cursor on playhead on playhead full end. I'm going to rename it here on playhead full. Open folder and then all one word. Okay, that's it. All right, so what did I do? What did I accomplish? Oh, that did some issues. Oh, GS timeline did not understand on cursor pull. Okay, 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 okay. I broke it. I broke it. Just hundreds of, not hundreds, but many, many error messages are popping up right now. I was thinking about this and like, am I right to blame it on having a dynamic environment that is also the development environment? And I think the answer is yes, because if this were like Python, where I was not running the code in the same event loop, right, I would miss out on all the live interaction and whatnot. But I would never have this problem because I could just kill the program, right? There's no, even in JavaScript, right? You have a separate layer for the, like in the browser, you have a separate layer for the, when I put the mouse over the thing, right? Can I share that part of my window? Yeah, I can. This is what I'm seeing. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things. Not hundreds, but many of them. And they take a long time to pop up. All I'm gonna move my mouse over, just move this over the window. That's it. Just dragging the mouse over that is triggering all these pull events. Right. So, but this is happening here on cursor pull. Yeah, I can't. What do I do? I think if I just put the mouse here, and if I try and, nope, it's popping them up. Okay. Hmm. Oh, I have keyboard shortcuts. Okay, okay. Do I have a keyboard shortcut that says close that window over there? Tab does not. I know what I can do. If shoot, dang it. All right, my mouse seems. I mean, my keyboard seems to be active in that window. Okay, so if I say nil and then Control G on that, that will kill the timeline. Now I can move my. Okay, that's but it still pops them up. It's it didn't help. Why does it still pop it up? That's no longer. Why is it still doing that? That makes no sense. Okay. Look at all these, so many windows here. Very frustrating. Can I click the save button? Nope. Can I hit Control W? Yes. Now about it. Still happening. Still happening. Still happening. Still happening. Okay. All right. Well, I need a better strategy for dealing with this. This is not cool. It's kind of funny, I guess. If you treat this video as a comedy, then all right, just switch to this. I don't know what TLE means. Oh, it was TL, right? TL was the thing for training. Can I just hit Control W again? Yes. How about now? Still popping up. That's insane. All right. Well, if it's still popping up now, I don't know what to do except kill the thing. Because like the thing that's the widget isn't even there anymore. All right. So I'll just pop this up and just kill it. We're down to 4 megs, right? Or 4 gigs. End task. Just quit. I think this button down here is actually a little more forceful. Frustrating. Hmm. All right. All right. Curious now how much it now this fresh copy is only okay. It's only less than 1 GB. It briefly hit 1 GB. Now it's not there anymore. All right. So I actually don't need that. I believe everything works now. It was just that I had like a version of this that was still sending messages using the old name cursor instead of playhead. So everything's fine now. That's kind of frustrating. Like the code I wrote works, but the old state was sitting around and just screwing everything up. Pretty happy with this. Again, not quite the right behavior when you start scrolling. You need to be able to scroll out of the zone and then, or you need to be able to you need to scroll away and then back before it starts scrolling, or right, like it should matter what direction you enter the active zone from. Okay. Crisis averted. All right, so now let's go ahead and commit that. I believe that should be good. All right, so what did I change here? Oh, I added the to-do list. Okay, so why do I have 2 buttons? Don't know. So GS timeline. What do? We said cursor to playhead, and what else did we do? And snap scroll bar, and snap to column. Snap everything to columns. All right. So all right. So cursor to playhead, snap the background, the snap pane to columns as well. Snap pane to column as well. Okay. Add a couple more to-do notes. Let's see. I'm probably going to take a little break here, go to my kid. Click a column, set the playhead. Actually, that was the main thing I wanted to do. So the playhead, explain how this works. To do explain how this works. And then we're going to add some tracks. And so the more important thing is adding tracks, not tweens, but adding tracks. And I guess that the idea there is that I closed Godot, but the idea is that you have the track has to be specific to an object in a scene. So first we have to say bind. There has to be a scene, and we have to know what's in the scene. So maybe what I need to do is make a scene, right? Create a scene object. So the scene. So a track is, well, how about we call it property tracks? So there's lots of different kinds of tracks. Right now there are no tracks, obviously, but in my mind they're property tracks. There are different kinds of tracks, like audio tracks, and you could embed a videos, and then you have a video track. Property track. So this is a maybe I should think about this a little bit, because I want to. Do I want to follow the Godot model exactly? I guess it doesn't matter. I was thinking that maybe I could just have like a bunch of variables, and then the variable would just, so you would just create a bunch of variables, and then the model would be whatever the variables are, and then you could just render the scene based on those variables in each frame. That's kind of like the way React works, or the way another animation tool called Motion Canvas works. That's a very React-like JavaScript framework for making animations. And you just you tween on variables, and then I guess you can bind to a property of an object. But I think I'm going to start with the Godot way, and then there could be another kind of track if we have other kinds of things. So a property track will be what? Sends a setter, or sets a specific property on a specific object in the scene, identified by name. Identified by name. Both identified by name. Both identified by name to a specific value. Specific value and allows key frames set value at keyframe, set specific value at keyframe, set keyframe value from current value, or create a tween, which I guess is the next step. Keyframe property, keyframes, and adding tweens, interpolate between two keyframes. Interpolate between two keyframes, and then possibly using an easing function. I think we're good. Okay, I'm gonna give this a break now and come back a little bit later.